Hello and welcome along to the start of the third version of these walks that we've been carrying out with the help from Allen Buckroyd, and we're now on the east side of Great Baddow and next to a building called Pontlands Park. Now the history that this particular area, and it is a parkland, is that it goes back to probably around about the 1500s and Walter Mildmay. Now Walter Mildmay was the great nephew of Walter Mildmay, who later became the Chancellor of Exchequer. So a very sort of prominent building and very much in a country setting. Now the original name, and we have to look at maps from about 1777, shows that the original name was Pontland, and then in 1881 the map shows it as Pontlands. It's not until 1879, when the building is rebuilt for the Foster family, that it actually takes on the name of Pontlands Park. And we look at this building and we see straight away that it's of Jacobean design, and the Jacobean design was really installed by Frederick Chancellor, the well-known local architect who built a number of buildings in Chelmsford, including the Corn Exchange. So the building still is in very much prime condition today, and it is now a luxury hotel and even has a swimming pool in the back and various banqueting suites throughout. A very nice building and a lovely place to stay. We have now come further east and we are now on the edge of the village, and we are right next to a very special building, the Marconi Research Laboratories, built in 1937 and now occupied by BA Advanced Systems. This is the home of electronics development front end. A lot of the ideas that we take for granted today, a lot of the innovations came from this site. This was where those ideas were turned into working prototypes. And we're talking all sorts of communication systems, both radio, radar and television. At its peak, the centre employed more than 1,200 engineers, technicians, craftspersons and support staff. The Marconi Company chose to establish itself in Chelmsford shortly after the company was founded in 1897, and the first factory was in, as we know, was in Hall Street. In 1912, the company expanded to the New Street site, and this was where the first Marconi Research Department was founded by Charles Franklin in around 1912. It was taken over by the Admiralty in the First World War and restarted again in 1919 under Captain H.J. Round. By 1924 there was a section on shortwave radio as part of the GPO's Imperial Wireless chain, and a few years later another section was working on the idea of television. This was in 1924. In 1936 it was decided to bring together the radio, television and telephony research teams into one single location. A site was bought in Great Baddow because it was deemed sufficiently far from potential sources of electrical interference for all research work to be carried out without any problems. The building of the site began in 1937, and by 1938 researchers started to work on the site. In April 1940, the Royal Air Force took charge of the team around the radio propagation, and by August 1941 all operations had been taken over by Admiralty on the centre. After the war, the UK electronics industry developed, and during the late 1940s and 1950s the site expanded to include both radar, general physics, high voltage, vacuum physics and semiconductors. It was also at one point the home of the Marconi Company Museum and had numerous artefacts from the pioneering days of Giacomo Marconi and his work on wireless telegraphy. The centre has remained in the forefront of electronics research ever since, and notable Marconi research employees and scientists who work here are Sir Christopher Cockrell, inventor of the hovercraft, Sir Eric Eastwood, Director of Research of the Marconi Company, Peter Wright, who went on to work on electronic surveillance for MI5 and is the author of the Spycatcher novel, Tony Sale, who reconstructed the Colossus computer at Bletchley Park. The Colossus computer is deemed to be the first computer of its type in the world. There's also various other physicists involved, including Frank Farmer, who was a pioneer in X-ray photography. Now behind me you can see a 360-foot tower. That was brought here for a special experiment. That tower now has grade 2 listings and is a very special part of the skyline of Great Baddow. Normally people see a village and see the church spire. With Great Baddow you see the chain home tower. The Baddow Tower, a grade 2 World War II listed structure. It's 360 feet high or 110 metres, and it's a former chain home radar tower which is visible across the surrounding countryside around Great Baddow. The remaining tower maintaining all of its platforms was given grade 2 listing in 2019. It's the only chain home tower in the country with all of its platforms still in place. It was originally used in World War II as part of the chain home radar system, which was developed on the Marconi research site. It was situated at Canewdon on the Essex coast. In 1940 it played an important role during the Battle of Britain, enabling fighter aircraft to swiftly intercept enemy forces. The role continued as part of the defence of London, including the tracking of destructive V-1 and V-2 flying missiles. The Marconi Company scientists and engineers in the Great Baddow Laboratory designed the transmitter aerials for the chain home system. The Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy were also based at Great Baddow during the war, carrying out radio technology research which was used in aircraft, ships, mobile equipment, and could be used to identify the source of opposition agent radio transmissions. The tower relocation to the Marconi research site in Great Baddow happened in 1956 and enabled the tower to play a key role in the defence research and communication during the Cold War, particularly the development of the radio guidance system for the Blue Streak intercontinental ballistic missile project. Blue Streak was UK's medium-range intercontinental ballistic missile, and it was designed to carry out as a nuclear deterrent. In 1955, the Marconi Company won an MOD order to design and build the microwave guidance for Blue Streak. It required a structure of some height to do the work, hence the use of the tower. Since 1956, the Great Baddow Tower has been used on a number of projects, and here are just a few. Early work on radio wave propagation, which was done by the BBC and the ITV before the launch of the 625 line UHF television services of the 1960s. It was also involved in high-speed radar data links using microwaves, and the great use of it more recently is as National One, a precursor to the mobile telephone system we rely on today. This was probably the first mobile phone mast in the country. It was also later used on the Seawolf project, and at one point had a hut on one of the spars which was used to protect the equipment during testing. This was visible right up until the early 2000s. So we're now standing in the lawn cemetery, and the tower is behind us overlooking the cemetery. Now this is a really beautiful place because it's laid out in a way that is very ordered and very neat, and there are sections of each part of this which are allocated to children, to Muslims and to general burial, but also to cremations as well. And you can see the cremation cemetery behind me. Now, the tower sitting there, hopefully we know that the people that worked at the Marconi Research Centre, some of those will be buried here. And the tower looking down on them is a great tribute to make sure that people know how important their contributions was to the technological life that we have today. So we're now adjacent to the lawn cemetery and we're in sight of the tower, but behind me are Seabright's cottages, little Seabright's cottages. Now the term Seabright, or C without the A, is actually Anglo-Saxon, and Great Baddow is noted worldwide for the home of the Anglo-Saxon Seabright family, who were royalty at the time. Now their land stretched from here all the way behind me over in that direction to the Great Seabright's barn, and that is now a sort of an area that has a lot of Anglo-Saxon finds on it. But maybe we'll talk about that in one of our future videos. So for now, thank you for listening, and we have a fly past, and it's great to again be in Great Baddow, and maybe in the future we'll do another video from this area. Bye for now.